They have fun.
Did you say all that people?
I just wanted to make sure it's.
You're ready. Thanks, Jared. All right, it is 7 o'clock, so we will call the August 21st regular meeting of the Village of Northport Council to order. And let the roll call show that trustee Harper is absent. All of the trustees are in attendance, along with the village manager and our DPW superintendent. Second item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Any amendments or additions to the agenda? Are there any from the council?
I move we approve the agenda.
Sorry. Moved by Susan, supported by Hugh to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the agenda is set. We have, item 3 is approval of the council meeting minutes from July 17th, regular meeting, and August 7th work session.
I move that we approve the July 17, 2025 minutes.
Second.
Moved by Laura, supported by Susan to approve the July 17th regular meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. 17 is approved, and next up we've got the 7th of August session.
I move that we approve the August 7, 2025 minutes.
Second. All right, moved by Laura, supported by Edmund to approve August 7th work session. Any discussion on those? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the August 7th work session minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those are approved as well. That brings us to our first public comment. You'll have 5 minutes to address the council, either in person or on Zoom. And if you'd like to raise your hand or unmute yourself, I will recognize you. I can't see everybody that's in Zoom, but
I think if you push the participant button, it pops up on the side.
there's only 9, I guess so.
Yeah, click on that. Mary's unmuted, maybe? Or
Any public comment?
oh yeah, she's not.
Okay, hearing no public comments, we will move on to item 5, which is correspondence. I don't believe there was any correspondence in the packet. Okay. Item 6 is our staff reports. First up is Clerk Joni Scott. She however is not in attendance. Anything from the manager report for the clerk? Or anything to report for the clerk?
No, just that payment of the bills is here.
Okay. All right, we've got our DPW report. Written report was in the packet. Chris is here. If anybody has anything for him.
I have a question. I just wanted to know what the status of the water fountains was, just where we were at. Cause I knew that was a process. We're waiting for Cal. I just wondered if there was an update.
Probably gonna be close to Labor Day.
Okay.
After that thing.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a different, Sharon and I talked about ones with a dog
That's awesome.
dish filler, so that changes the cost.
Okay.
So,
I think that that's a really great idea though, for that location. So, yeah.
do you like that location that we?
She's talking about the dog,
The dog
Feature.
water, yeah,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
think that feature, yeah.
which I like too. I've looked at some of them. Chris and I were looking at some of them. I looked at some other ones. It definitely is more than anticipated.
Okay.
I think maybe we need to bring it back potentially.
Okay.
I don't know. I want to talk to Chris about that in some more detail, look at some of the options. Because the nice ones are not $2,000, they're more like $6,000.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
They're pricey.
But
But
you know, maybe that's worth installing that. So, and at this point, given that we're scheduling it at Labor Day or after, maybe we just wait until the spring.
Well, and I definitely also think it's better to wait till after Labor Day at this point, because I mean, you're so close and then we have so many fewer people here.
Farmers market goes to in September,
I believe so.
I think so.
so.
Sorry, where's the location? Lane?
Yeah, close to the, there's a bike rack on the north end of the farmer's market,
Yeah.
right now. That's kind of, we've got a water main that's in that general location, so this seemed like a option,
Makes sense.
so.
A lot of dogs in the market every Saturday or Friday.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
it is nice to have that feature at the bottom, you just push a little pedal, dogs can use that one, plus there's, if you do a filling, if you just do the filling station, you can get them pretty reasonable, like 2,000-3,000.
Yeah, or
But if you add a fountain, if you add the dog bowl, it goes up quite a bit.
some of the ones we looked at are a filling station plus a drinking fountain that are ADA compliant with the dog, so it covers
Yeah,
all that.
it's also really appealing, yeah,
So
so,
it's something we'll circle back to and then
cool,
review the structures.
cool.
Any other questions?
Whichever idea it was to cool the pavement for the dog parade beforehand is brilliant.
That was Sally's husband. So we give it a trial run, thanks to Hugh for letting us go far for it. It worked real well.
Yeah.
It was a,
A lot of compliments.
yeah,
It was a hot day.
it was a,
Next year we'll have seances.
we do it in February.
Thanks, Chris. Next up is the Marina report, again, written report in the Dropbox. I don't see Bill on by name unless he's iPad 2 or diagnostics. It looks like the season is going well. Winding down.
Hours are reported in there, changing hours, we're
Mhm.
posting that on the website now.
Okay,
Losing documents.
yeah,
But I think the best news is that we sort of recovered what we lost early in the season.
Exactly. Made us
It's sort of surprising. I wonder why that happened.
The revenue has been solid,
Yeah,
in fact, I think we're gonna end up a little over,
I think you said we're 7,500 above
yeah,
last year.
at this time, yeah.
all right, that brings us to our village manager zoning administrator report. Again,
Let me know if you have
written
questions.
report in the packet, if anybody has anything for Jared.
I would like to mention the housing workshop. Next Tuesday, 5:30 to 7:30 at the school, trying to follow up on the workshop from April, give updates on what the village has done. 2 important ordinances in place since then, some other updates and hopefully good discussion. Seemed like it was a great turnout, what I've heard in April. So.
Will this one have food?
Yeah, I'm not doing the food this time though.
Yeah.
I'm doing, but we do have childcare this time too, which I have coordinated.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions for the manager slash zoning administrator, we'll move on to our ex officio reports, with the first being the planning commission.
Yeah, so planning commission, we are still working on the master plan, and kind of going along with that. We have finished the public property rubric essentially, and have a number of properties that are removed as like not really applicable for development of any kind. Which when you guys look at it, I think, is it coming to the work session?
I think that's a,
Yeah, that's the plan, because we haven't ranked them or anything. We've divided them by zone so that you can kind of see like, these are ones that are in R1, these are ones that are in D1, these are ones that are in, there's quite a few in conservation. And all of them potentially could move forward with something depending on what people's opinions are and what you want to consider. Some are, all the different factors that are in there, sewer, water, all the different things. Anyway, so we've gotten through that. The only aspect that isn't completely finished, but thought we would bring it back kind of to see what council is thinking in terms of where to go with it next, if it's council looking at it further, planning, whatever. So that was kind of where we were at with that versus, the part we hadn't finished was the historical and cultural stuff that may have to do with every site.
Mhm.
And that's because some of them, we don't believe there's any, but there might be. But again, it's kind of like, if we aren't looking at it for anything, do we really need to spend a ton of time trying to find out the history of the site if we're not going to do anything? Anyway, so that is going to be coming back. And then we were looking at the overlay and potential, talking about the D1 district and the minimum lot areas. That I believe is also coming to work session, or is it? Work
To be
session, right?
determined. I don't think the next work session. I
Okay,
sent out some emails the other day. I sent an email to the planning commission following up, explaining the notice requirement and when we'd be able to schedule that. Because of the newspaper publication timing.
yes, it would be the next meeting,
Yeah,
that's right, that's what,
it would be
that's
in
what you said.
October,
Yep.
when the planning commission,
Can do the public hearing.
right?
Yes,
The
if
planning
that,
commission has to do the public hearing, and
but
then,
it's,
so then it would come back to the council. I think so that would be the order of things.
anyway, essentially what we were looking at is the D1 district, the minimum area allowed for development. When that got changed in the new adoption, it made a lot of lots non-conforming because they are already smaller than that. And we're still not totally sure how we did that, but the solution that was talked about, all of them are on the corridor, is doing an overlay and allowing a smaller size for development, so those aren't non-conforming lots that then have to do that whole process for development. And then we also talked about the zoning map and the fact that when we adopted the zoning ordinance, there's a new RS2, R2S district, which is the shoreline. And that has its own separate zoning, which is actually less restrictive than R2, which is why we changed all of that. But until we fix the map to make that zone on there, we can't actually use it because it isn't identified. And so trying to follow up and be sure that that public hearing and process gets done so that that district and zoning can be enacted, like actually be used by RCA. So those are the things we've been working on.
Yeah, Susan?
I have one question. How many properties are, the rubric includes only village properties?
Yes, correct, only village
And
properties.
how many properties are on it?
Do you know how many there are over
Approximately.
here?
Total, I think it's 19.
Wow.
But there were several that were,
I think it's 7 that got removed.
was it said, yeah.
I think
So-
it's 7, because initially it was 5, but we had forgotten to remove the golf courses, which were, I mean, literally the golf course. Anyway, so I think there's 6 or 7. Trust me, there were some people that were like, no, I want a house in the middle of the golf course. I'm like, I'm sure you do. So
there are about 12 left on
I think so, yeah.
okay.
Is there like a target number that we're looking for, like how many units, like?
I don't think there is. We've actually had this discussion at planning. That's part of why I think it needs to come back, because it's not really up to planning commission how many or what, like really the process right now we've been trying to do is just being sure all of them are identified and that all the facts about them are there so that okay, if we are looking at this lot, it doesn't have access to sewer, right? Like that's a downside, things like that, and making sure that all those things are outlined. And so some members of planning really want to get it down to 5. I personally think that we shouldn't shrink it down, because if we're trying to address housing and some of these sites aren't as big, or, I don't know how they would be used potentially, I don't think we should restrict ourselves yet, because I don't think there's any harm in pursuing more than one. Like if we're looking at West Street and we're looking at another one, and so I didn't want to eliminate, since we weren't supposed to rank them, that's what council had asked, was just to identify and, define them. I didn't really think it makes sense to eliminate them yet. And then if everybody here is like, no, let's take anything that's conservation, let's take it out or whatever, fine. But I think we decided we would bring it back to council so that you guys, everybody could give direction, and it's not just the planning commission eliminated it, so now it's gone and we don't know anything about
So
it.
once this is complete,
It is, yeah.
a developer wants to think about building something here, can come to the village and say, what do you got that I could look at?
Correct. Well, as well as I feel like we could direct Jared to just like we have him talking about West Street, and be like, oh, well, these are ones that we really think, because there is a few, and there's one in particular that I really think is definitely positive, and it's not one that we've been looking at previously. So I definitely think that once we look at that and talk about it as a council, everybody can kind of give their 2 cents as to what ones we might want to look at further or have staff look into.
Has the township assessed all of their potential properties?
I don't think so. They said that they had a, Hugh, not you, Hugh, the other Hugh, on planning. Hugh Scott on planning. He's our liaison back and forth between the two, and they have agreed to do it, but I don't think that theirs is complete yet. And theirs most likely, I bet, is much larger list, just because they have so much more, area. I don't know how many are on your guys's, but I do know that it's probably a lot more than ours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, anything else for Laura?
And that, if you wanna look at it, sorry, if
You
you
go
wanna look at it ahead of time, I mean, it's in the planning Dropbox. And the revised version that has the one separate, I mean, that could probably go somewhere, and because it's done, it's just, I'm not sure it's in a Dropbox yet.
Yeah, we need to, I can.
But since the meeting, we revised, because at the last meeting, what we decided was which ones are we for sure pulling and keeping separate and everything else. And so that revised version is done, it's just we haven't had a meeting since then.
Just, if you want to email me, I'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's pretty nice. I mean, you can really clearly see how it breaks down and everything.
Like, I'll send it
Yeah,
out
I
tomorrow.
looked at it in the planning commission meeting packet.
Awesome, yeah.
Well
And
done.
now that they're separate by zone, I think that it really is nice too, because you can just really quickly see like, oh, well,
Yeah, doing a great job with that.
thanks.
Okay, if there's nothing else for Laura with planning, we'll just rewind it, come back to her for infrastructure.
So the infrastructure so far, I feel like since we've switched to the liaison concept from our meeting concept, is that I talked to Hugh a little bit, but I don't know where he stands, but for me, I feel like I still kind of don't know what the role of the liaison is, and how we're gonna integrate that into what's happening. And I can just talk to Jared and Chris about that if people want, but I also didn't know if we should try to define, because I feel like to me, to be able to continue carrying on the things that we're trying to be sure are moving forward, that maybe we want to have a short meeting, like even if it was 15 minutes outside of this meeting. I mean, I can bring stuff up here, but then you don't have answers yet. So it's just like, oh, we'll find out and in a month do it. And if we did it maybe a week. But I didn't know if we want to like make that
Right.
a policy, or if there's something else that works better, or if we want to
Make it
not
so
do that, or just have it be whoever's the liaison does what works for them. I don't know. I just kind of wanted, and there are a couple projects that I want to me, is things that we were working on in infrastructure, and since Jared was new and it was summer, you know, like, but we have one of the things we have been talking about ongoing that we haven't been over the summer is the water main that might be leaking in front of the Union, and then the water main and hydrant installed, that's the between 5th and 6th one, and just kind of seeing where those are at and what is happening, because those are things that in infrastructure right before we shifted,
Mhm.
we were talking about a lot. So
To speak on both of those projects, again, I hate to kick things off to fall, but it is a better time.
well, yeah, I
Especially
just,
this one right here.
yeah, the one,
By the-
yeah, in the middle of the
by
street,
Fargo
yeah,
Trail.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, that one.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you that we probably ought to have a meeting of some kind, but I also realize there's no way in hell you're gonna limit it to 15 minutes.
Well, and maybe there's a way for, and Jared, let me know what you think about this, but to set up like a reoccurring meeting between the liaison, the manager, and the department heads. So it'd be, you would meet with Bill and Jared, you would meet with Chris, and just so you could knock some stuff around. I mean, nothing official, right? I mean, don't have to post a agenda or anything like that, but where you could just catch up and talk about
Yeah.
things that are on infrastructure or waterfront or that type of stuff.
I'm open to however much information, engagement you wanna have, I'm coming into this learning how the committees were functioning, how the liaisons were functioning, and then it's changed over the past year, and now I'm here, and, we started this new meeting schedule, so really just whatever works for the council as a whole.
Or maybe those work sessions could have some infrastructure or waterfront stuff on it where we could talk about it as like, I think, cause that's, I think what we were thinking about when we
Yes.
did this. Was that
Okay.
there would be you would bring stuff to that work session, we would talk about it as a whole.
I
So
think
that
that
we
could
all
work
are,
too, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
not to make the work sessions any longer, but.
We can just add that to the agenda and have a couple items specifically devoted to the liaison function.
Okay,
It's something
I think that'd be
And then, you know, have those informal meetings. Aside from that, leading up to the work session.
yeah, cause I
And-
definitely,
and-
that was one thing I was gonna say, is to me, I feel like it would make sense to do it before the work session versus this meeting, cause this meeting's like the voting meeting, not so much the discussion meeting.
Yep.
I mean, we discussed, but yeah,
If, you know, just to say, if you need my input or, you know, I'd be glad to show up.
okay, yeah, well, and I think definitely we would, because when it's infrastructure stuff, cause you're the one who knows.
So.
Everything,
I just wanted to reference, one of the reasons I'm looking down, I wanted to reference the rules of procedure. Which this is now the second time on the agenda tonight that since I've been here that we've had an amendment
Yeah,
to the
revised
rules of
it, yeah.
procedure. Maybe there's another one that's in order, I don't know, but that's why I wanted to look at it, because in the committee section. It says that the village president shall appoint a village council staff liaison for each of the following subject matter concerns. It shall be the primary responsibility of the liaisons to meet with the village manager or staff members on issues of interest or concern, track staff attention to assigned tasks, propose projects or initiatives, present a report at the village council work session meeting related to the assigned subject matter, and there's two of them listed: waterfront, marina and parks, and infrastructure, water, streets and lights. So those are the liaison roles that are now in the rules of procedure, and we should have that at the work session agenda. That's how the rules of procedure are.
even say
are
it.
written.
Clarity,
Makes
So-
sense.
yeah,
So you called it, Chris, that's, as long as at the work session, it sounds like,
okay,
so.
alright, so we'll have that up for the next work session. Maybe
Awesome.
the liaisons can get with either the last week or before that week of that.
Yep.
meeting
Yeah.
to just,
And remember how
Bullet
I'm doing the agenda
Oh, yeah.
packet leading up to the work session, so I'm trying to get that posted by the Friday before, so we'll just keep
It'll
that
need to be
schedule in
before
mind.
that, yeah,
so that,
Yeah.
that last week of the month, try to coordinate.
So like.
yeah,
next
probably
Friday-
earlier on the, it'll need to be earlier in the week then, yeah.
Yeah, just keep it in mind,
Okay.
as we're talking meeting, so like next Friday, the packet and agenda will be posted for the following work
Right.
session.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
Yep.
They just keep,
I know.
you know, coming along.
Like a paycheck.
You know, pretty much.
Alright, so we got a little off the infrastructure, but I think there's some good discussion there on how we're gonna coordinate this. So if there's nothing else for infrastructure,
No problem,
we'll
yeah.
move on to marina.
Yes,
Q,
there are some things, I got into the suggestion box. Very complimentary on the dock hands. There was one suggestion of more hooks at the men's bathroom, that's already been done. The cute ones. One of the persons said that he's traveled all over the Great Lakes, and this marina is the nicest one in the Great Lakes.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
But now the other twist is the fact that person wrote that one of the things that people come up here to see are bears. He would like to see, this person would like to see one of the dock hands running around in a bear costume.
oh. Then we're down to seven.
Whatever floats your boat.
And as far as parks, there's nothing to report.
Alright. Any questions for Hugh? Alright, D is the NLTUA, we had our bi-monthly meeting this last Tuesday. Agenda items included approving a biosolids haul. To take the material out of the lagoons there, that will occur over a 3 to 5 day period, depending on the number of trucks and how many loads they can take. We discussed the deputy treasurer position, that's facilitated by the township and restructuring the pay schedule there. It's a salary position, but it was brought to the board's attention that the workload may not equal the pay, and so we're gonna move to an hourly pay rather than just a salary to try to save some money. And along with saving some money, we're also going to, had proposed having an audit this year we had our official audit last year. We're only required to have the audit every other year. So we're not gonna spend the 9,000 on the audit this year. We're gonna do it next year when it's required. So those were our topics of discussion.
So you're comfortable with that?
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, the audit we got from UHY was very thorough and, so I think. we're
Well, and the
good.
recommendation, that came from UHY, right? To
Yeah.
do another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, to get another page.
So, any questions on, sir?
Why did UHY recommend another audit?
I
Did they have a reason?
didn't really say, no.
But if they did, they could pay them $9,000 to do it.
That brings us to new business. We've got A, B, C, and D. There are motions in the packet regarding each one, and just to keep with Robert's rules, if we could entertain a motion on each. Then we can have some discussion. The first up is the resolution 2512 amendment to ordinance 141 attainable housing facilities exemption.
I move to amend ordinance 141 as presented.
I'll second.
Right, moved by Laura, no, moved by Susan, supported by Laura to amend ordinance 141 as presented. Any discussion?
Pretty cut and dry.
It makes total sense
Yes.
to do this, I think.
Yeah, gives us more options.
May I just?
You may,
Just for the record,
for sure.
this amendment to the ordinance only changes the definition of attainable housing property, because the way that the ordinance was adopted states that attainable housing property is residential real property of not more than 4 dwelling units, not occupied by an owner, that is used for rental purposes, which could be construed to not allow an accessory dwelling unit, which is a question that came up that evening. I wasn't sure quite how to interpret it at that time, and whether or not the statute would allow accessory dwelling units. The amendment makes attainable housing property consistent with the statute and changes the definition to residential real property of not more than 4 dwelling units used for residential rental purposes, does not have to be occupied by the owner. That allows accessory dwelling units to be eligible for that exemption. That's the only amendment to the ordinance.
And owners are allowed to occupy one of the 4.
Correct.
Right.
Which would not be exempt. The
Yeah.
occupied unit would not be exempt.
The ones that
Right.
rotate.
Yeah, got it. We're a little bit, who's on first kind of thing, I got you.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, and I'm just gonna double check, because it's a resolution, do we have to have a roll call vote, correct?
Should.
Yep, okay, sounds good with me. All right, so roll call vote, okay, again, it was the motion was made by Susan, supported by Laura to amend ordinance 141 as presented. All in favor of the motion, starting with Evan?
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Hugh,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes,
and yes. All right, motion passes. That brings us to 8B, resolution 2025-13, fiscal year 24-25 budget amendments.
move that we approve resolution 2025-13, amending the fiscal year 24-25 budget as presented.
Second.
Moved by Laura, supported by Susan to adopt the resolution as presented. Any discussion? Just want to say that the manager and clerk did a great job of highlighting all the budget amendments that we had to go through. So pretty cut and clear. Thanks for the hard work on that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from the council? Okay, hearing none. Again, made by Laura, supported by Susan to adopt resolution 2025-13 for the budget amendments. All in favor of the motion, starting with Joe?
Okay.
Oh. Hello?
I think,
Okay,
Whoever it was.
let's see.
accidentally unmuted.
Laura,
Yes,
Hugh,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Edwin,
Yes.
and yes. Alright, motion passes. Next up is 8C. Resolution 2025-14, amendment to Village Council Rules of Procedure, consent agenda.
I move to adopt resolution 2025-14 as presented.
Support.
Moved by Susan, supported by Hugh, to adopt resolution 2025-14 as presented. Any discussion?
So we're moving our work sessions to 10 AM, is that correct? It says that here, work session meetings will be held on the first Thursday of each month, beginning at 10 AM.
In the resolution?
Yeah, the resolution says 10.
That's not correct,
No,
because that's
I
not
didn't
what's
do
supposed to be changing.
No, you look at the resolution is therefore be it resolved, and it just includes adding section 3. But there's also in the packet, the actual rule of procedure document. Is that what you're
Yeah.
referring to?
Yeah.
The actual rule of procedure document, what page is that?
That's on the fifth page. Or, sorry. Third page.
Item number 2, work session movement.
beginning at 10 AM.
Well, that's wrong.
So
Yeah,
that,
that's wrong.
yeah, good catch. That's just a relic from previous iterations of the rules of procedure. We've been scheduling it at 2. You may want to include that in your motion this evening. If you'd like to change that, we can amend. the
You can do it, we can do
rule
it
of
all at once.
procedure.
Yeah.
And, cause we've been doing that too.
Susan made the motion.
Yes, works better. I think for all of us so far.
Yeah, that's why we schedule it then. So amend your motion, Susan. To also include this one.
So I move to adopt resolution 2025-14 as presented. As well as to change the rules of procedure to have our work session start at 2 PM.
I second.
Yeah.
Yes.
exactly.
All right, so the amended motion was made by Susan and it was seconded by Edwin to adopt the rules of procedure consent agenda, but also to amend the meeting time of the work session from 10 AM to 2 PM. Any more discussion? A good catch, by the way.
Good catch, yeah.
Okay. There is, and again, this is just to streamline our meeting to get some of these formalities out of the way of the minutes and the payment of the bills can all be handled one, and then we can always pull it back out of the consent agenda if any council member sees fit to do so.
I might also add any member of the public as well.
Oh, any member of the public as
Notice
well.
the way that it's stated. Any trustee or member of the public can remove an item from the consent agenda.
So when would they have to do that? During public comment?
Yeah.
Ask for it to be? Okay. That's good to know,
Mhm.
because that kind of addresses your question for work session. But like, is the public on this end?
Okay. There's no other discussion? All right, again, the motion was amended motion made by Susan, supported by Edwin. All in favor of resolution 2014 amendment to the village council consent agenda and meeting time, starting with Edwin,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Hugh,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and yes. Motion passes. All right, next up, we've got the resolution 2025-15 treasurer appointment. And
I move to approve resolution 2025-15 appointing the treasurer as presented, Elizabeth Rula.
A second.
moved by Susan, supported by Laura to adopt 2025-15 treasurer appointment of Elizabeth Rudula to the position of village treasurer. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say a couple words. I deal with Ellie on a daily basis at the township. And her professionalism stands out immensely. Even though she likes to pick on people, but she'll do a major, or really good job. I'm very impressed.
Thanks, Hugh.
I also want to say my experience with Ellie has always been that her work ethic is unbelievably strong. I mean, I was really excited when I found
$5, that's what it cost.
I have one question.
Yes,
Is this, is this about the same that we were paying our previous treasurer?
Yes.
out. And he had 7 applicants?
Yes.
Yeah.
excellent. All right. Any other discussion regarding the treasurer appointment? Okay. Motion was made by Susan, supported by Laura to approve 2025-15 treasurer appointment of Elizabeth Rudela. Roll call vote starting with Joe,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Hugh,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Edwin,
Yes.
and yes. All right, congratulations. Welcome to the zone.
Yeah.
All right. Should state that the motion does pass. And so now we will go to, item 9 is payment of the bills. An affinity invoice that was just over the manager's allowable funds to approve. So we need a motion to approve the affinity invoice.
I move we approve the Infinity invoice of $3,991.38.
Second.
Okay, moved by Susan, supported by Edwin to approve the affinity invoice in the amount presented in the bill. Right, already on it.
399138.
399138. Any discussion? No, and Jared did a good job of outlining it in his manager's report. Bring us up to speed on the software and the computer, so. You get a new computer too. All right, if there's no other discussion regarding the affinity invoice, again, the motion was made by Susan, second by Edwin to approve the invoice in the amount of $39.9138. Roll call vote starting with Edwin,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Hugh,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and yes, the motion passes. Okay. That brings us to item, oh,
Gonna pay the bills.
we gotta pay the regular bill.
Yeah.
Does this have to be included in the total or is it already included?
It is not included.
Okay, so we'll need a second motion to pay the total balance.
I move we pay bills totaling $158,533.96 when funds become available.
A second.
All right,
But do we have to add the Infinity bill to this?
We can, it's fine as a separate motion.
Okay, all right.
so moved by Susan, supported by Edwin. To pay the bills in the amount of $158,533.96 when funds available. Any discussion? Okay, I guess the only thing I had a question was, I could have asked this anytime, I'm sorry. The $32,000 bond payment to Huntington, is that a bond for like one of our vehicle bonds or?
Yes, I believe so,
Okay.
yeah. I can't remember the exact piece of equipment, but I remember that.
Okay.
Uh,
But it wasn't a sewer bond that it's usually.
Not-
there's
not a
the
sewer
details
bond
usually in
payment.
there for that.
So good question. I presume that's what it was.
Yeah, because we have a couple bonds out for some different equipment and.
I think it's from the.
yeah, the loader, right? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that was my only thing. Like I said, I could have asked that at any time. Just thought of it while I was reading today. All right, if there's no other discussion regarding the bills in the amount of $158,533.96, the motion was made by Susan, supported by Edwin to approve the payment of those bills. All in favor, I guess roll call vote, starting with Joe,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Hugh,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Edwin,
Yes.
and yes. The big bills are paid. Now, that brings us to number 10, our second public comment, where members of the public will have 5 minutes to address the council, either in Zoom or in person. Just raise your hand or unmute yourself and I'll recognize you and you can have the floor for 5. Okay, if there is no, we'll move on from public comment to our council comment. Any council members would like to address the council?
It was really nice to have a 40-minute meeting.
I would wanna just give a thank you to everyone that donated to the dog parade.
Yeah.
That everything counts, so I appreciate that.
So that
That's
was
great. Kudos to Chris and the entire team at the golf course. Like the golf course is in the best shape I've seen it since I've lived here. It's really great. My wife and I are saying this is the summer of the guests. We have, I think, 133 guest nights at our place. And we've only had 5 nights without guests this summer. It's crazy.
Your own home?
In our own home. Which is awesome. This is why we bought the place, right? To share it with friends and family. And I've taken a ton of people out there that have played golf everywhere. And they're like, the 9-hole uni, right? And they go, this place is great. And we've had a great time. Everyone's super friendly and the course is in fantastic shape. So you should be recognized.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Did you register as an STR?
I'm charging rent. They should. Just my brat bill is.
Yeah, you can make it get late. All right.
Edwin, real quick, did you hear any total numbers on how many dogs are registered?
I heard 205.
Well,
So, but yeah, I wanted to just, while we're handing out flowers, echo the DPW's work on the dog parade. That was awesome. Great day. It's a great day. So thanks for all your work on that. Okay, if there is no other,
Motion to adjourn?
A second.
all right, moved by Hughes, supported by Lord to adjourn the meeting at, what time we got? 7:42. All right, so we're adjourned. Thank you.
Hey, I should ask this to all three. Saints, the equal line. What sorts of the equal lines?
The geese combined with corn.
And then with a high wind, we get all stirred.